fabulous Family Foundation Friday. Try saying that 3 times fast, okay? With Executive Director, Mr. David Walls. Welcome, David, and thanks for joining us again.
Greg, good to be with you, and I'll let you be the one that says that.
Okay, okay. Now, remember, you can hear this if you're listening at WJMM 99.1 FM. That's Central Kentucky Christian Radio. Or WJMM.com, podcast tab near the upper right. Click on the Love and Lordship links. You hear today's and the previous 2 days. Listen, share, comment. Let us know what you think, or if you have any questions. We'd love to engage with you. Our plan is to have a Family Foundation Friday every other Friday, but David and I were just talking, and we're going to probably through the rest of this session, 3 or 4 more weeks here, we're going to bring one to you every Friday because there's so much going on. So I don't want to say much more about that. You can check us out at loveandlordship.com. And David, KentuckyFamily.org, right?
KentuckyFamily.org.
KentuckyFamily.org. We'll say a little bit more about that as we wrap up. But we want to keep you abreast and up to date on the legislation and policy issues that affect Kentucky, but specifically affect marriage and family in Kentucky. And so I'm going to ask this, David, because the last time we were on, big issue the last couple of times, parental rights. Give us a quick update on that.
Yeah, so continues to be just tremendous momentum to see parental rights, children protected from harmful ideologies. We've been communicating a lot about House Bill 177 by Representative Shane Becker, the Parental Right Protection Act. Continuing to see a lot of momentum build on that. We also have seen in the Senate Bill 150 by Senator Max Wise. It's also a parental rights bill, a little more limited in scope.
Okay.
That bill has actually already passed the Senate. Okay. Had some very interesting hearings and just really just hyperbolic opposition, Greg. And,
do you think that helped with the momentum? So people could see
what
was going
I bring
on?
that up to say that it continues to just remind folks of these are spiritual battles that we're involved in. Yeah. And so to see the attacks that come against a very simple bill and idea that we want parents to be involved, have their rights protected, to be able to protect their kids from concerning ideologies and indoctrination.
Have the first say.
Yeah.
Have the first
Absolutely.
say, priority say. Yes.
So I bring that up to say that the spiritual temperature of the Capitol has been raised. This issue is, you're seeing the mainstream media write about it and so forth. So just a tremendous opportunity, but we continue to encourage folks to encourage their House members. There's as I mentioned, Senate House Bill 177 has now picked up well over half of the Republican House caucus that's supporting that. So there's several bills moving. We know sometimes in these legislative processes, you just got to see what kind of rises to the top. At the end of the day, we think we have every reason and expectation, but we continue to need folks to contact their House and Senate members to get the strongest possible parental rights protection across the finish line this session.
Awesome. And that hopefully will happen. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you. If you haven't heard us before, you all are the ones that make this happen, right, David?
By
the constituents and the citizens. If you'll reach out, KentuckyFamily.org, you can find contact information for legislators and everything, right?
And some folks know, a lot of folks know us. We put out our Kentucky Citizen newsletter publication. We'll share this for those that are watching on the video that we recorded these as well. We just published our special legislative edition that's got a bunch of important information on some of the bills that were filed that are good pro-family bills,
which
and
we're
some ones
that
we're tracking that could be very concerning. It's a great time to go to KentuckyFamily.org, get signed up to get our Citizen. If you would like to get more hard copies, reach out to us, and we'd be happy to send you some.
Great. Please do that. Also, you talked about building momentum.
Yeah.
Thank you, listeners. But also, you guys had a rally. I know we promoted that with the Authority of Love. Tell us about. You were excited about it. Tell us about the rally, and you got some special news, right?
We just had a great blessed day that the Lord blessed us. We had a great crowd in the Capitol Rotunda. It was last Thursday, in spite of the fact that it was torrential downpours.
We're still getting flooding.
We're so thankful for those that were able to join us. In the Capitol Rotunda, but it was a blessed day. We had some great pastors, just a great time of worship, and a great opportunity to highlight some bills. Obviously, the parental rights issue was highlighted. And we're going to talk about a few of the other bills, but one of the other just God ordained neat things that happened, I'll just put it that way,
timing
was in the middle of our event, we got a important decision from the Kentucky Supreme Court on this ongoing challenge from the pro-abortion industry against our pro-life laws. Now, it wasn't the kind of final permanent say, but it was a very important pro-life victory. It was a 4-3 decision, so it shows you how close these important decisions can be made. But the main takeaways are that the Kentucky Supreme Court essentially said that the abortion industry didn't have standing, didn't go about challenging these pro-life laws in the right way. What does that mean? That means that what they also said was that the laws are going to continue to remain in effect. So we are now over 200 days that abortion has been essentially prohibited in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, that there hasn't been a legal abortion. And we continue to thank the Lord for that. The challenge will be going back down to the lower court. We have every reason to believe that the pro-abortion industry is going to continue to challenge, and it could go all the way back up to the court. But we're thankful for where we sit right now. We're thankful for the Attorney General's Daniel Cameron and his team. And in fact, one of his top lieutenants was the one speaking and got to give the update pretty much as right in the moment when the decision came out. So that was a neat moment.
Well, now here's what we got. So you're right in the middle of this rally that was promoted, 100 plus people there in the rotunda, right? The Supreme Court makes this decision. He gets to talk. That's what we call scripturally a kairos moment.
That's right.
Right? Not just a date and time, but God showed up, and we knew He was there. Good things going on. That's awesome. Thank you, Lord, for that.
And we just had a great time to
celebrate.
Thank the Lord and celebrate.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome. Okay, you mentioned also then that there are some other key bills and there's some concerning ones. We've got some time left here for this one. We're going to come back next week. So fill us in on some of those and let people know what they can do.
I'll mention a few others, Greg, that we haven't talked about on your program yet. One of those is House Bill 30 by Representative Bill Wesley, good friend, pastor as well. Got several great legislators that are both pastors and legislators. But House Bill 30 is what's known as the Student Privacy Act, to provide protection for our students in the context of locker rooms, showers, and bathrooms. It's as I have been saying, and Representative Wesley, this is the most common sense bill that you could possibly imagine. All it says is that we're going to continue to have a policy in our schools that says boys use boys' facilities and girls use girls' facilities. Biology matters.
Gender,
It's not discrimination to say that we're going to operate according to the distinctions that we know between men and women, between boys and girls. Obviously, we have seen, even in Kentucky, concerns about school districts having policies, whether it be based on a student saying they quote unquote identify opposite of their biological sex or otherwise, putting the privacy and safety of students at risk. We passed the Save Women's Sports bill. The legislature did last session.
Same principle.
Same principle
right?
there, And folks may remember, one of the examples that was highlighted is Riley Gaines, the UK swimmer that was forced to compete against a biological male in the NCAA championship. She has become such a great spokeswoman for these common sense laws. But, if you've heard her story and testimony, it was not just that she had to compete against a male. It was that the biological male came and was using their facility. And, just obviously that's inappropriate, and it is something that shouldn't happen. And so that's just, I mention that to say that the context of having to provide these common sense protections, it's really important in the concept of our, whether it be restrooms, whether it be in locker rooms, whether it be in overnight trips. And there have been situations that we're aware of here in Kentucky where parents are concerned that these kinds of policies are being allowed in Kentucky schools.
Well, it gets bigger than that, David. I'm sitting here thinking because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you may or may not know, but I think with Riley and with many others that have gone through this here in Kentucky and other places, there was a lot of pressure on them because there was pressure from the universities and the administration and the coaches who were kowtowing to the cultural stigmas and the ideologies. And they were being, just be quiet, go along with it.
Right.
And she was courageous enough and humble enough to stand up and go, I'm not going to do that.
Yep. Right? And so, and we're winning on some of these issues. Well, the NCAA now has, they are, when folks take a stand, we've seen this time and time again.
Yes.
All it takes is one person who is willing to stand for truth,
Yes.
and to do so in a way that's honoring to the Lord, but is convictional in their beliefs,
Yes.
and that is contagious.
Yes.
And we have seen Riley and others be contagious, and now you're seeing more female athletes saying, you're darn right, this is not right, and it's time to put common sense policies in place, and that's why House Bill 30, from our standpoint, we have said it's common sense. It's sad that we even have to address some of these issues. But Greg, as you know, the deeper issue is that we're continuing to see attack on God's creative order. What it means to be created in the image of God as male and female. And as we go about advocating for these policies, the goal of the Family Foundation is we want to point people back to the truths. We want the laws and policies to honor the Lord, but because ultimately we care about kids, and we want kids to grow up in a commonwealth, in a society in which they are affirmed in who God created them to be.
Yes, and here's the interesting part, David. Some of you may be going, Greg, I've heard you share your messages and things like that. Why are you doing Family Foundation? Because David just said it. If you're watching on video, if you're not, I'll read it to you. Every life and relationship built on the love and lordship of Jesus Christ. And our book, The Authority of Love, that we based this radio program on, the workbook says this: living in God's covenant design, covenant order.
That's right.
You said we have so moved away from the creative covenant order that we are running into this. Ideology needs to be defended over and over again. Truth does not.
Yep.
And when Riley, as you said, and others stand up for that, that makes a huge difference. And we've got to have more and more people doing this. Graciously, let's do it graciously, but let's do it firmly and boldly.
Absolutely.
That's what we're called to do. Closing comments, because I know we're going to come back next week. We got a lot to talk about, right?
We do. Couple other important bills. There's been House Bill 58, provide medical conscience protections for healthcare
Same
providers.
type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very important. But look, we're in the middle of a short legislative session. Right. There's not going to be there's time is short and of the essence. This is a perfect time. If you have not taken a moment to just reach out to your state house member, to your state senator,
and they can do that. They can find that at KentuckyFamily.org, right?
KentuckyFamily.org. Right. Now's the time to make a phone call. Look, we're just, our heart and desire is to help equip Kentuckians, fellow believers, to be the salt and light that we've been called to be. And what we hear time and time again is reaching out, making that message, making that phone call makes an impact with the legislators in Frankfort.
It does. I just spoke to one today, as a matter of fact, before we were editing this, and we had a great conversation. So again, our plan for 2023 is to continue to partner with the Family Foundation for a Family Foundation Friday. Not every other week, but now every week. And we'll do that as long as David wants to, because I think there's so much good information. You're doing such a great job. So go to KentuckyFamily.org or loveandlordship.com, both of those, and you'll find stuff that this comes together, okay? The things that affect marriage, family, our communities, our churches, our culture. And to inform you at KentuckyFamily.org on key legislation, the impact that will have. So join us again next week for more on the Love and Lordship message and the authority of love. And we appreciate you being with us. Thank you for joining us. Thanks always for your prayers. Thanks to the Lord. Make it a great day, and God bless in Christ. Now stay tuned for Bill Reeser and Encounter. I'm Greg Williams, and you're listening to the Authority of